Okay, in part one of this video, we calculated the empirical formula of tartaric acid. And what we want to do in part two is find the actual chemical formula of tartaric acid. So in order to do that, we're going to be taking the ratio of the molar mass of the molecular formula divided by the molar mass of the empirical formula. Okay, and when we do that, we should get a whole number. All right, and we're going to use that whole number to actually multiply through the empirical formula in order to get the actual chemical formula of tartaric acid. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to need the molar mass of the empirical formula. All right, and I've already calculated that. If you haven't figured it out, you probably need out a periodic table alongside the video with the calculator. And what I get for the molar mass of the empirical formula is going to be 75.044, and that's grams per mole in terms of its units. All right. Now we need to take the ratio as I explained over here. So the molar mass of the actual tartaric acid is 150. All right, 150.087, and that's going to go into the top of our ratio. So 150.087. All right, and we're dividing that number by 75.044, and we get 2. So we take the 2, the whole number, and we multiply that now through the empirical formula, which is C2H3O3. We're multiplying the subscripts. So the actual chemical formula of tartaric acid is going to be C4O6. Okay, so it's going to be C4, sorry about that, H6O6. All right, now, so to summarize this process, there's a few things to remember. You need, when you read the problem, to identify exactly the kind of compound. And what I mean by that is that if they had asked you to find the empirical formula of a hydrocarbon, you need to remember that a hydrocarbon only has carbon and hydrogen in it. In the case of this problem, though, we're looking for the actual chemical formula of a compound that had carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in it. Remember, the way that you find, usually in those problems, the way that you're going to find the mass of the oxygen is that you will first find the mass of the carbon and the hydrogen, and then use simple difference from the mass of the given compound to get the oxygen. Once we have the mass of all the elements that are in the compound, then we find the moles of each. We compare the mole values looking for the smallest one, and we divide the mole values by the smallest number, and that gives us a mole ratio. In the case where you get a ratio that is a decimal, then most of the time what you're going to do is look for a whole number that can be multiplied through that decimal to give you a whole number. So in this case, we found that there were 2 carbons, 3 hydrogens, and 3 oxygens for the empirical formula of the compound. To find the formula of the actual chemical compound, you find the molar mass of the empirical formula. You use the molar mass of the molecular formula divided by the molar mass of the empirical formula to get another whole number. That whole number then is multiplied through the empirical formula to give the molecular formula of the compound.